with some PSGL action here in Formula 4, and we've had a few issues here tonight. We've been plagued by quite a few issues, and fortunately we should be back now, but what's happened is that Noah's internet sadly has gone down, and in his area it's struggling to basically restart. So we've had to basically go right back to the action in this sort of way, and I will be the lead and, well, most likely only commentator for tonight, unfortunately, but we should all be back next week, both of us. But anyway, back to the action. We've missed quite a bit, haven't we? Virtual safety car on the opening lap, and Chapelele and Maxro already out of the race, and by the sounds of it, by the looks of it, we already have a bunch of people who've already entered the pits of Sasaki, Vapor Nuff, Devin, Saija, and Yannick 11. So those guys have already entered the pits, and Fairhand Racer as well. Those on the hards are doing a 1-stop most likely, and those on the medium should be doing a 2-stop. But into the pits come the last two soft runners of MNT Ghost and Izzat Kush at the moment. So Kazizel will now take the lead of this Grand Prix, followed by Mike K in second place. So Kazizel on the hard tyres in the lead of this race, and what a start for Ginger, I must say, in third place at the moment. He's quite clear as well of the guys behind them, as they are all in the train behind him. So a lot of battles not really near the front, but in the middle for fourth place we could be looking at a small overtake here. This track is very prone to not really having overtakes, but here comes Bugatti anyway. Is he going to look for the move on Dertamo, or is he going to sit behind? He's going to sit behind for now. So the Alpha Tauri at the moment up into fifth place after pit stops. Just let's have a look at some sort of statistics here. Position change, loads of position changes, of course, because of pit stops, but more importantly because of position changes in general, such as Kazizel and Ginger making up 13 positions because there was a bit of chaos on lap 1, including McCrew as well in 11th place. Not particularly the greatest of races last time out for the Red Bull team, particularly McCrew, who was at the back of the field for the majority of it. However, he's doing pretty well here at a track that he perhaps likes a little bit better, which is good to see. And MNT Ghost, of course, the person who was leading and technically is still leading in terms of the net positions when you look at the stops here, where he is the highest at the moment, who has made a stop. But looking at the gap to the leader, he is 23 seconds behind, and looking at the statistics we got, it's about a 25-second pit stop. So at the moment, Kazizel would come out ahead of M&T Ghost, however would only come out would come out behind of M&T Ghost, but only by about 2 or 3 seconds. So right now Kazizel's actually in a good position considering he's on the hard tyres, but he's going longer than M&T Ghost, so Kazizel should be on the worse tyres than Ghost, and obviously making that pit stop will lose him all that time and gain it back for M&T Ghost, who will be retaking the lead once all of these guys ahead of him do eventually pit. Talking about at the front, Mike K takes the lead of this race, so Kazizel no longer in that lead. These two battling away. I need to look for the action and not keep talking about it, to be honest. I'm not doing my job correctly if not. So looking at this battle for fourth place at the moment, a small battle between Dertamo, Bugatti and McCrew. McCrew just hanging in there, just behind them, keeping within the DRS, not getting too close to these two at the moment. And there is also a battle for the lead between Mike K, Kazizel, and now Ginger, who has entered the frame. So a really good start for the Alfa Romeo team in Ginger's case, not for Chapelele, so as he is already retired out of this race. I'm not sure what happened to him, nor Maxro, which is unfortunate. I do apologise for that one. I'm still trying to find my stream that I've got, because at the moment I have all sorts of different streams on. I think I've got the right one now. Nope, this is the old one. My one is apparently not there at the moment, which is a little bit of a shame. There's 2 different streams with F4 on it. One of them's mine. I'll find it in the end, but anyway, we're going to keep with this battle at the moment, as Bugatti has a bit of a slide there in 5th place, with McCrew then has the opportunity behind him, but at the end of the day, Bugatti's still sticking in the DRS. It's going to save him, and McCrew has a similar thing to Bugatti, and now McCrew is in trouble of being outside of the DRS. He keeps in it for now, but at the moment, McCrew looking a bit edgy on those hard tyres, but of course, they are the tyres with the least grip of them all. And we already talked about MNT Ghost. This stint is going to be really crucial for him. He's already gained 3 seconds on Mike K at the front, and I reckon that battling between Mike K, Kazizzle and Ginger has played an effect to it a little bit, but he's chilling at the moment, isn't he? MNT Ghost in 8th place. He's got Izzat Kush just behind him, and Izzat Kush will be pushing him a little bit at the moment. Of course, Izzat Kush with a penalty there of 6 seconds, so that's quite early to get 6-second penalties. Not really promising for his race ahead, but he is pressurising MNT Ghost at the moment for the lead of this race, but just not pressuring him too much, and it is very difficult to overtake around this track. Not many opportunities do come about around this track, as I'm still trying to find the stream that I'm looking for, but I can't seem to find it. I'm pretty sure we are live. Yes, we are. So there is a stream somewhere, is all I'm going to say, but I'm not sure where it is, and I'm 99% sure I am broadcasting this on the PSGL one. If I'm not, then whoopsie daisy, that's my mistake. But I definitely should be doing it on the PSGL one. Definitely not anywhere else. But anyway, looking further ahead, we've got a battle here between Bugatti and Dotamo for 4th and 5th. There's a little bit of a switch around between these two. And of course for the lead as well, looking fairly close. So a little bit of a battle just been sorted out between these two as Bugatti overtakes Dotamo at the moment, and MNT Ghost again closing in on 7th place on Burek Baidev. They shouldn't come close to each other. So fortunately for Ghost, he actually does not have to worry about traffic. He's got all sorts of free air. The only problem he will have is the guy behind him in Izzat Kush at the moment. Let's go on board with MNT Ghost. He looks pretty strong, and look just behind him, Izzat Kush is there, and he is braking relatively later. It's all about a saving game for these two, and it does look like I finally found the stream for you guys, so that's absolutely brilliant news. So it's finally uploaded, and it is on the PSGL channel, so that is brilliant news. But Izzat Kush just following MNT Ghost for now, not looking at the overtake, but he's just sticking with him for now. But looking forward though, towards the front again, it looks like Kazizzle is closer than ever before on Mike K. He is at less than 4 tenths now between him. He's got a lot of ERS to play with. Mike K's not got that much. But Kazizzle, of course, he's in it for the long run. Mike K will pit, or most likely pit, before Kazizzle, unless any sort of external sort of accident happens in this race, which could lead to them both pitting, such as a safety car, for example, would do wonders, really, for Mike K. Maybe not for Kazizzle, Ginger, Bugatti, and all the other hard runners at the moment, maybe including the likes of MNT Ghost as well. Well, most certainly MNT Ghost, since he's lost now that potential chance to lead this race, and potentially losing a podium as well, as it comes to it, as it is pretty tricky to overtake, and I think that has been expressed enough here around this track. But Ginger now looking very close, these three looking quite close. Mike K's tyres, I think, are starting to go off a little bit, because Bugatti's now starting to catch up with the top three. We've got a 4-way battle for the lead, ladies and gentlemen, and that could become a 6-way battle for the lead, but obviously there'll only be a few opportunities really for these drivers to take the lead. But Kazizzle, he should overtake Mike K this lap, I reckon, unless Mike K is going to pit, and he is going to pit there. So the racing point actually comes in pretty early. He's onto the hard tyres then till the end of the race, doing a 1-stop, unless he does two soft stints, but I would not see the point in that at all. It's going to be interesting to see where he comes out, since obviously he was the lead car. And M&T Ghost getting a 3-second time penalty, probably not what he would want to see. What he would want to see, though, the leader of this race, who's just come in, seems to be quite far behind him. And that is good news for him, simply because it obviously means that Kazizzle, Ginger, etc. will likely have to work for it a little bit more to win this race. And obviously they've driven a great race so far, but Ginger looking quite close to Kazizzle right now. Also McCrew looking quite close to Dotamo, who's kind of lost a little bit of ground to to Bugatti at the moment, as Bugatti looks to join the front runners in that battle for the temporary lead. But whether these guys will be battling for the lead at the end, it will all depend. But I tell you what, Ghost at the moment, he'd be pretty annoyed about how he's got a penalty. That would not soothe his mood, as he's the only driver of 3 to get a penalty at the moment. And in fact, of course, Izzat Kush even more annoyed, because he's technically in this hunt for the race win, and he's got 2 penalties there, 6 seconds worth of penalties. So he would be a little bit relieved that Ghost is also picking up these penalties quite early on. But obviously Ghost will now look at that and probably take a hint of caution going through the rest of this race. But we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, not much action going on, but this is Singapore, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Very tricky track, but I tell you what, towards the end of this race, things do usually lighten up, because the strategies here are so different. The medium tyres tend to be quite quick compared to the hard tyres towards the end of the race. And we already talked about M&T Ghost. He seems to be very quick compared to the likes of Kazizzle out in front, even though he's got half the tyre life of them, and the hards usually do last longer, and usually there is a point where the hards will be quicker than they did to begin with at a point. So it's interesting at the moment. There's not much action on the track, but there's a few talking points to go off, including, of course, M&T Ghost, as his teammate now picks up a 3-second time penalty. Raz McCrew, not probably enjoying the race at the moment, stuck behind Dotamo, who seems to be falling away a little bit more now from Bugatti. Bugatti falling away as well from the leaders, as we have a virtual safety car. And what's the reason for that? I'm not too sure. I don't know if it's Mike, but as I said, this will be a thing that technically should benefit M&T Ghost here, as in some sense it could benefit him or it could benefit Kazizzle. It all depends on who's the quicker driver. If Kazizzle is getting away from M&T Ghost, then M&T Ghost gets to technically sustain at that position. I don't think it'd be the case though. But we'll have to wait and see when these guys get back underway, as we try and look for a battle a little bit closer down the grid. I guess this McCrew one is the closest one, but I don't think there will be a battle too often here, as I think that is Burek Baidev who's coming to the pits. Very early pit stop for him, as he will go on to the medium tyres. Well, I would have thought. Yep, he goes on to the medium tyres. The safety car, the virtual safety car was caused by him, because he's getting a front wing change, and as you can see, no front wing left. So this is a confirmed 2-stop for the Haas driver then, and he is probably going to be thankful there was a virtual safety car, but also annoyed that he most likely has his strategy ruined there, as it's Vapor Nuth who gets by him. And at the moment, looking again towards the front, we've got McCrew just behind Dotamo at the moment. His teammate M&T Ghosts is in 6th place, so is cruising right now up the field. Has gained a little bit of time to Izzat Kush, which is a little bit of a cushion now for M&T Ghosts. But Izzat Kush, of course, proved he was very quick last week, and actually had a good performance in the Racing Point team in the end, so don't put it off him. But at the moment, there's not a lot of action going on. Maybe we could see an overtake here for 11th place very, very soon. We've got Vapornuff versus Burek Baidev. It should be quite an easy one for the Haas driver, but you know what? He's going to try go around all the way around the outside, and, well, as predicted, he does go into 11th place. He should be able to get away now, because those medium tyres are going to be far better than those hard tyres. And this is going to be a good demonstration, ladies and gentlemen, to how profitable and how good those medium tyres compared to the hard ones are. As Burek Baidev looks to already be clear of Vapornuff in a couple of corners. So at the moment, it looks like Burek Baidev is going to be quite quick for the next couple of laps. However, of course, he will not be doing a one-stop. At this point, he will not be doing that one-stop. There is no way he can do hard to medium from lap 14 onwards. So his medium tyres will burn out towards the end. That would be an insane race if he does take these mediums to the end. As a bunch of positions changing. I didn't notice Furhan Racer was in a position to be overtaken. But there we go. Maybe a small mistake from the Mercedes driver then. But moving further forward, still a lot of no real overtaking opportunities for any of these guys. McCrew almost out of that ERS compared to Datamo. And there's one thing I can say really is how frustrating it is to try and build up that ERS. That ERS, once you drain it all, you're not getting it back. And you would expect a track like Singapore to be quite forgiving for ERS. But it's actually not. For ERS, it actually drains it fairly quickly. And getting it back is relatively difficult. And it looks like Datamo is not even... He's not even gaining much, really. He's still losing it. He's barely touched his overtake button, but he has lost a bit of ERS on the straights. And here we go again. He'll use it again just for leverage, just for security, so McCrew can't get by. But then again, look at this. He has lost a lot. And he probably pressed that overtake button for, like, what, 3 seconds? And that's about it. And he's lost about almost 15% alone from that. So saving the ERS is relatively important around this track. And let's look at Ghost. How's he doing with it? We've got someone spinning. That would be T's 24. He's lost a bit of wing, and it is significant enough for him to come into the pits. Is it significant enough for a safety car or VSC? No, it's not. I would expect T's probably to retire here. I wouldn't recommend it. Personally, because this track does offer a few driver mistakes, and with that a few VSCs and potential safety cars. So really, I don't recommend retiring in this race so far. It's only lap 15 of 31, still half the race to go, and although it does seem pretty meh for Tees as he has retired in the pits, which is unfortunate really for him, it could have been potentially a chance to save your race. But I guess it's very, very far-fetched because, again, you contradict yourself when you realise this is Singapore. It's very difficult to overtake or get in a position to overtake. And this track describes Formula 1 in general. I think, like real-life Formula 1, it describes Formula 1 in general when it comes to overtaking and how difficult it is to get the job done, because it's very difficult in the dirty aero course in real life, and cars just space out. And here, it's kind of the same. The cars just space out to around 5-6 tenths or something. Well, it's not because of dirty air, it's just because the straights aren't long enough, and again, the ERS gets drained so quickly, and it's so hard to gain it all back in the end. And that obviously means that drivers are just going to sit back and wait for the right opportunity, but it's going to take a long time to find it. As we do see an overtake, though, between Furhan Racer and Sasakir. It looks like Sasakir's mediums perhaps have come to an end pretty much as Tees leaves the session. But it looks like Sasakir's medium tyres are definitely done and dusted. And look how clear Burek Baidev has got of Vapornuff. In the space of 3 laps there, he's gained around 6 seconds, just showing how good those medium tyres are for the opening few laps. So for Kazizel, where is he right now? The gap to M&T Ghost, who will be the eventual leader once these guys on the hard tyres do pit, he will be around 11 seconds behind. And right now is obviously not the right time to pit, I would say. I think there is an opportunity to pit, but as we're seeing here, Furhan is clearing away from Sasaki, meaning that the medium tyres will most likely die around lap 13, lap 14 on that stint. He didn't start on the medium tyres as well for Sasaki, which obviously again proves the point, and he's got a fresh medium tyre runner in Burak Baidev just behind him here, so he'll be looking for a move on the Ferrari. As look at the grip levels difference we've got. We saw it last week, of course, with a 100% race, which was much different to a 50% race, I noticed, and in some sense it was more entertaining in a way, since obviously the alternate strategy seemed a bit more overpowered really than what we thought. But Burak Baidev go around the outside. There's nothing really Sasaki can do. He's just really holding out as long as he can on those medium tyres. I think he's going for a medium soft strategy. Oh, sorry, soft, medium soft. Hold on a second. Let's see where he started on. He started on the hard tyres. He's gone hard medium. He must have got wing damage early on then, because obviously the hard tyres can go longer than 4 laps, as we've got another VSC. This time it's because Devon has retired. I don't know what's happened to Devon. We hopefully can find out by Yannick round the corner, as he's just binned it in the wall there. Of course, a similar, well, not a similar incident, but an incident like that happened through George Russell quite a while in 2019 with Romain Grosjean. But this is interesting. All these guys now going on to the medium tyres. For M&T Ghost, this is a bit frustrating, because now the likes of Kazizel, they are going to come out in a prime position to close that gap 2 Ghosts ahead. So this is going to be a very, very interesting next couple of laps. And more importantly for the likes of Ginger, they will look to try and close the gap. But Mike K has got out ahead of Ginger, so Ginger's got a bit of traffic now ahead of him. And it's not like Mike K's hards have completely depleted either. Only on 6 laps at the moment, so he will most likely be going to the end. Bugatti surprisingly staying out for this one, so that's a bit of an interesting decision from Bugatti. But M&T Ghost now in the lead of this race once Bugatti does pit, and Kazizel should be closing in quite a lot. Again, we'll get a little bit of a dynamic here between Mike K and Ginger. But it's all about the closure of that time, and we've already seen like Burak Baidev. He's already closed in. He's closed in a mountain full of time on Vapor Nuff since he overtook him, around 8 seconds in 4 laps. So technically speaking, that we should see a battle start to emerge around lap 23, lap 24 time between Kazizel and M&T Ghost. However, it could be the case that M&T Ghost actually has more pace than Vapor Nuff, which obviously helps M&T Ghost protect his lead for a little longer than that. But whether we'll get to the end and it'll be the same scenario, we'll have to wait and see. It looks like Mike K has really done a job hasn't done a job for Ginger too well, as he's been held up in the pits. But Bugatti now coming out ahead, behind Mike K. Has he come out ahead of McCrew? Just about. It looks like, he's actually very, very close. And you know what? On those medium tyres, new fresh medium tyres getting up to temperature, this could be an opportunity for McCrew. Maybe he's a little too far back though. 5 tenths, 4 tenths. He's had a bit of a poor exit there, but yeah, he won't be closing in enough to challenge Bugatti for now. So a little bit of an unfortunate timing there for McCrew, and it looks like it would have been very, very close. Now we've got an overtake likely to happen. Burak Baidev going to the inside of Furhan Racer. Shouldn't be attacked by Furhan, but Furhan is coming back on this one actually. Furhan believes it's an opportunity, but he does back out eventually, but he's still there for now. But Burak Baidev at the moment having a fairly decent race, I have to say, but of course he still will most likely have to pit again. I cannot see him taking these mediums another 12 laps in this race. I think that would be quite remarkable. I don't know when these mediums are hitting puncture territory, but obviously it's after around 14-15 laps, because they look like an absolute pain to drive on late on around that stage. So we'll still have to wait and see, but it's lap 19 of 31 at the moment. M&T Ghost leads, but look at the gap. It was around 7 seconds, 6-7 seconds between him and Kazizzle, and within 2 laps, I think it is, Kazizzle has closed in half that gap. This is what I meant about the medium tyres. They are insane around this track, but of course towards the end they will start to fall away. But also the hard tyres will fall away. In 11 laps time, they're going to be 24 laps old, so they're not going to be in any better state than the mediums. So this strategy for Kazizzle has left him in a prime position to win this race. And at the moment, Ginger not helped by Mike K, who's now 3.6 seconds now behind him. So it just shows that these medium tyres are in optimal range, and obviously because of the less fuel in the car as well, it has alluded to better times than what the mediums would be able to put in at the start. Bugatti now right on the back of Mike K. What's he going to do? He's going to look for the move around this corner. This is very unorthodox. You don't usually see that, but he's made it done there, Bugatti. And Mike K obviously respecting that he's going to lose the position anyway. There's no point fighting it. He's going to fall back because these medium tyres are going to be insane compared to those hard tyres. So McCrew now is next on the agenda. Luckily Mike K gets the DRS, but look at that, he's already a second clear. Bugatti already showing that these hard tyres are just probably not the position even to look about fighting these medium tyre drivers. But McCrew looking very close. He would want to get the move done as soon as possible on Mike K, but obviously this section through sector 3 with these 90-degree corners, it's not really the best place for overtakes to be made. But McCrew losing time, he's going to become a bit more impatient. It's a poor exit out of that corner though for the Red Bull driver as he looks to close in. He has got a decent exit through there, but that's obviously down to grip compared to Mike K, but just not close enough. And again, looking at the ERS, Mike K has the ERS to defend, and in an attacking sense, an attacking purpose, McCrew does not have that. So McCrew at the moment is in a very peculiar situation. He also could be attacked by Dotamo behind, who obviously has more. And you know what? Dotamo's going for it. Here comes Dotamo in the Williams. Is he going to send it down the inside? He definitely is. Here he goes, the Williams driver to the inside and almost loses the car there. And McCrew defends quite well there indeed. Very difficult through them two, but he sensed the opportunity with the flashing red light, and I mean, unfortunate for Dotamo, he saw the opportunity and he's probably left himself in a poor position. And this is what I said, it's a strategic game. You have to really have that true strategy game when it comes to overtaking in these positions, because that ERS is not going to be coming back easily, not for McCrew, not for Mike K, and not for Dotamo. So Dotamo has now left himself in a poor situation, and I said this again, Mike K, although he has the driver of McCrew behind him on the better tyres, on the better strategy and everything behind him, he has the ERS advantage. So it looks like McCrew is still going to be stuck behind Mike K for some time, and Kazizzle, he is right on the back. Hold on, is that again? McCrew can't get by. He's getting frustrated. I talked about this. Impatience is now starting to get in the head of Mike K now at the moment. For McCrew at the moment, as he cannot get an overtake done on the VER driver. What about Kazizzle then? Kazizzle's coming on to the DRS straight, right behind M&T Ghost. I said around lap 23-24 he'll look for the attack. He's gone a few laps earlier, showing he's got great pace on those medium tyres, but he's just going to sit behind because he knows he has the pace to potentially overtake at a later time. He doesn't need to rush things. Looking at this then, look at McCrew, he's going down the inside, but actually Dotamo was wanting to go around the outside, and McCrew has lost out to that. So McCrew, who wanted to take 5th place, has been overtaken by Dotamo and has lost 6th place and is down to 7th now. So now it's Dotamo's turn to go at Mike K. But again, look at the ERS. He's got half of what Mike K's got, so Mike K can actually defend for a little bit longer here than these two guys behind. So it's going to be an interesting strategy now to play for the Williams driver, whether he's going to send it or not. McCrew's tried it twice. We talked about the desperacy to keep up, and it has not worked. We got a yellow flag in sector 2. Who has gone off? Is that Kush? Yes, it is. He's got wing damage on that right-hand side, and it looks like the Racing Points race is pretty much sealed and done. And considering he was in a similar position to Ghost at the time, it's not really a good ending for him. As here comes Gazizzle, what an exit he got, proving he's got so much more pace than that Red Bull, and that Red Bull knows that there's just no point really fighting back. He'll have to fight back again in a minute, but it looks like the race is sealed and done for him. But fortunately, he has left us with a little bit of a battle here, potentially, as it looks like Ginger's basically pushing through MNT Ghost right now and goes to the inside, which will become the outside for the next corner. I think MNT Ghost will look to try and defend this. He does. He sticks there, but obviously Ginger is probably going to take that position, and he does around the outside. A brilliant position. Brilliant move from Ginger, but obviously one that isn't surprising. Dotamo, someone finally gets past Mike K then, as this battle continues, and now McCrew is probably going to have another go in a minute. He needs to go, because this is just going to be infuriating now for him. Not only was he battling with Bugatti, and that's completely lost, he was battling with Dotamo, and Dotamo's done what he was not able to do. So really, it's not been a good day for McCrew. As for his teammate perhaps will be looking to stick it in for the top 4. Whether he'll get a podium or not will be interesting if he can keep in the DRS, but it looks like those medium tyres have just really ran away with it, as he picks up another 3-second time penalty. A loss of composure starting to come in now. We obviously see that last season with a bunch of F1 drivers in real life. Lance Stroll is quite particular. When something doesn't go Lance Stroll's way, he loses a bit of composure, gets a bit frustrated, and starts making a few mistakes. Or alternatively, when he gets a bit excited, he could do the same. Obviously, I'm not trying to say Ghost is Lance Stroll, and I'm not trying to say Lance Stroll is a bad driver, of course, but it's just a good comparison there of a driver that usually does have them sort of moments in those sort of situations. But McCrew at the moment still not past Mike K, and the more he sticks behind him, the worse those medium tyres get, and the less opportunity there is. And he's quite distance behind the Racing Point now, so the Racing Point doesn't really need to worry as much. And look again, the overtake, he's got nothing left compared to Mike K, so Mike K can just stick in front. Here comes McCrew though. Is he going to try send it down the inside? No, he's just too far back. McCrew at the moment is just not going to get the position done. He's already lost 2 seconds to Dotamo again. And that could have been him. Alternatively, if it was him who made the move on Mike K and not Dotamo, it could have been him. And that's going to be absolutely gutting for the Red Bull team. Luckily, it looks like one of them's going to get in the top 4. As for McCrew, at the moment, he's still struggling behind a driver where really he should have had the move done a long time ago, but a few missed opportunities and a few wasteful opportunities perhaps as well have accounted to him not being able to make the most of his opportunities. But here he goes. He's not going to go down the inside here, but yeah, again, he's almost pushing him through this third sector. Now here could be an opening. No, it's not. He looks like he's got the grip and the pace, but he just cannot get by that Racing Point. That Racing Point is placing his car rather perfectly, so McCrew cannot get by. This is the only real battle on the track we have at the moment, hence why we're paying a lot of attention to it. But these two running out of ERS, and for McCrew, he's running out of time because those medium tyres are going to be in a similar sort of pace sort of situation as those hard tyres. And again, for Dotamo, it's basically 5th place confirmed either way at the moment. But now here comes McCrew once again. Is McCrew finally going to get the move done on Mike K. They're both low on the ERS, but one has the DRS, the other one does not. To the inside goes McCrew, and finally, has the Red Bull driver got it done? Yes, he does. Finally, a move for McCrew, who moves up to 6th place then. But looking at the penalties, he needs to get away potentially, unless Mike K can come back at him. But at the moment, it is a 6th place and a 4th place for these drivers. But actually, it's not. Dotamo would go 4th place at the moment, as M&T Ghost has 6 seconds of penalties, and Dotamo does not have any. So Dotamo, who's 5 seconds between him and M&T Ghost, he may even catch him before the end of the race. I do think that's unlikely, though. We could be seeing a little bit of battle towards the end of the race then. Buret Baidev at the moment in 8th place. It does look like he's going to the line, isn't he? Unless he's going to stick on the soft tyres towards the end. It looks like he's going to the end. Which is interesting, because those tyres might go out, but we can have a little bit of a breather, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a difficult race, really, to go through, and it is unfortunate, but we will just have to wait and see. But Dotamo, at the moment, 3.8 seconds behind M&T Ghost, and closing on the Red Bull driver, and it's been an unfortunate one for M&T Ghost. Let's be completely fair and real here. Although it would be around the time now that Kazizel would have been approaching M&T Ghost, at the time, if there was no virtual safety car, M&T Ghost would be in a position to still be hanging on to a podium. But now it does seem slightly unlikely, and, well, quite crucially unlikely for this race for him now. It's kind of slipped away from him, which is a little bit unfortunate. But Dotamo at the moment is now closing on Ghost. Will he be able to see Ghost's car ahead of him as soon as he exits the corner? There he is, right up the road. It seems very close, doesn't it, between these two? But it's not. It's still 2 seconds between them. But Ghost is there for the taking, and I think Dotamo knows it's an opportunity for him to get that 4th place on track, even though he technically doesn't have to. He doesn't have to attack Ghost. Ghost has the penalty, Dotamo does not, and he actually has 2 penalties as well, does Ghost. So it doesn't seem like Ghost is going to really defend this too much, I don't reckon, because at the end of the day, the position is lost even right now when these two don't get close. But Buret Baidev, 3-second penalty here. That's going to be crucial towards the end of the race as those medium tyres wear off. But the hard tyres of Furhan Racer and Vapor Nuff may not be in the best situation either, though. Obviously, 23 lap old, 4 laps to go as well. So it's going to be around 27, 28 laps old towards the end of this race. But Dotamo at the moment closing in on M&T Ghost, and we're going to see an overtake very soon, I would have thought. Bugatti has actually closed in quite much on Ginger, may I add, as well. He's now in the DRS, and this could be an opportunity for an AlphaTauri 1-2 here. So Bugatti at the moment, he's in a good position. What's the penalty situation looking like for him, though? Now, he's got a 5-second penalty, so usually that's something like a severe collision under safety car, or in some cases VSC, or he's gone quick in the pit lane. If it is for one of those severe collision things, and you've got a 5-second penalty for it, and you've got proof that it wasn't really your fault, and it was more just a simple tap or collision that wasn't your fault, you can get that removed. So for Bugatti, he may be thinking that could be a possibility, but as he continues to close on Ginger, he looks quite formidable in the position right now. But looking back, we do have this battle as well for 4th place at the moment. Dotamo closing in on M&T Ghost for now, but M&T Ghost just holding his ground just for now. He's not exactly gaining time. And obviously Dotamo's getting closer, but I think M&T Ghost, he's just chilling, he's just sitting around at the moment. He's not really doing much, he's just trying to get it to the line now, I think. He's got enough time there to perhaps finish in the top 5, And if he doesn't finish in the top 5, if he finishes 6th, it's down to his teammate, really. So at the end of the day, it's not a problem. It looks like we're going to see a 5-6 for the Red Bull team, but we could be still seeing a 1-2 for the Alpha Tauri team, which would be a big blow to the Alfa Romeo team of Ginger, who's basically carried the night here tonight. Not to disrespect Chapelele, but he hasn't done much. He retired very early on in this race, which is hence why he's down in 18th place. And I don't know what happened to him, but at the end of the day, this could be a big battle in the constructors between both Alpha Tauri and Alfa Romeo. And here is Bugatti. Look how close he is. And you know what? Ginger has not got much overtake either. So Bugatti has a lot to play with. I don't know what's happened to Ginger, whether his tyres have started to really burn out, whether the setup has caused the longer runs more prominent. But oh my goodness, we have a safety car, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is a very, very interesting plot point. Who will pit? Will anyone pit? Is the question. There goes Ginger. Bugatti into the pits as well. I would have thought Ghost would pit then, if that's the case. Yes, he does. So, this is a very interesting plot point now. Everyone's going to be close. Everyone into the pits except from Kazizzle. So, Kazizzle, the likelihood is his safety car wouldn't stay out long. Kazizzle could just run away with this. McCrew, more importantly, has stayed out as well. So McCrew is now 2nd place. Ginger on the soft tyres. But for one thing that I covered from yesterday, last night, we had a late safety car as well, which got me to go on the soft tyres. I tell you what, it was not easy to overtake, even on the soft tyres. But these guys are obviously better drivers than what I am. So I think it may be a bit of a different scenario. But yeah, we could have a bit of a race on our hands here then at the end of the day. It looks like Bugatti's also got his 5-second penalty off, which is crucial. So if he can get past Ginger and McCrew quite easily, then he could be right on the back of Kazizzle come the end of this race. So we talked about drama that needed to happen in this race. We're going to get it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be basically a 2-lap sprint, as I would expect the safety car to come in. And I'm hoping that the soft tyre runners, particularly the top 5, can battle it out for the victory. But the only feasible ones to really do so and to win this race would be Bugatti and Kazizzle. But Bugatti, he has to get past 2 drivers. And here we go, safety car in this lap then. And Bugatti is going to close in on these front runners. And I'm sure also M&T Ghost and Datamo will. Don't think that Mike K will though. Actually, oh my goodness, there goes Ginger into the back of McCrew. Again, that will most likely get removed as everyone hates that sort of thing. What will Kazizzle do though? Will he go early or will he leave it quite late? Because he may actually go early here to reduce the amount of drivers which he has got to defend from. I know that sounds quite stupid because it's unlikely we're going to see like 5 drivers crash into each other, of course, and cause that, but it could be a possibility. But coming towards the end of this race, it's opened a few doors here, because McCrew has now caught up to the back, and also these guys are starting to recharge their ERS. For Kazizzle, luckily, he's got 100%, and they're back underway then for this race, as there goes. Oh my goodness, I mean, I said about it, we've got 3 spinners, and more importantly, and more unfortunately, I guess, as well, 2 Red Bulls around, and they've had a brilliant race, both of them, looking for top 5 positions in this race potentially. And well, they're both not probably going to score any major points. That is so unfortunate, particularly for Ghost, who also pitted as well. And for Bugatti, I guess his dreams have come true. Here we go, down the inside, not a move he needed to make, and into the wall goes Kazizzle. I'm not too sure about that from Bugatti. Very interested and very controversially on his teammate. And Bugatti's losing positions like no tomorrow. So this has really turned into a controversy of such now, because Kazizzle's going to fall behind. Bugatti in the lead of this race Was that move, though, too much to take? Did he really need to make that move, Bugatti? He had a lot of time. It will be a controversy which will be dealt with after the race, but I'm sure Kazissel is not very happy indeed. He's now got Mike K now attacking him. Kazissel trying to defend as much as he can, but the lockups are going to be painful after that wing damage as he got put into the wall there as Mike K goes into the podium positions, into third place. Goes the Racing Point. A really, really interesting finale, really, to this race. And Ginger, I don't know what happened to him. He's got damage as well, which may open the door, perhaps, for Saija, who we've not seen in this race at all. We've not seen Saija anywhere in this race. And all of a sudden, he has a particular opportunity here to get a top 5 position. I just feel really bad for MNT Ghost, really. Well, for the Red Bull team in general, they both basically spun out. The exit of the final corner perhaps had cold tyres at the end of that lap. Didn't really have much time to really have them cool down, but I mean, it'll be an interesting sort of thing after the race, but maybe the distraction of a few people. But what a dream restart it was, really, for Bugatti. Obviously, the 3 guys who I actually ironically said it's not like the top 5 guys are all going to go spinning. And you know what? Most of them actually did. So Bugatti then had the opportunity to slot in behind Kazissel. And again, that move perhaps probably will be debated after this race about Bugatti's attack on Kazissel, whether it was necessary, whether he could have held back. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But Tatamo in second place. He looks pretty confident now to finish in that second place as well. He's not going to win this race unless Bugatti does pick up a controversial penalty towards the end of this race, or even in the stewards. They've all drained their ERS, though, obviously, in this final 2 laps. Haven't really need to worry about it. Expect potentially to hit a fastest lap for Bugatti as well, as he has been able to clear any sort of battles that he's had to pick up. But he has had a very interesting race, it has to be said. But Bugatti will come round the final corner, and right now he will be the race winner here in Singapore. And it's a great race, really, for the AlphaTauri team all race long. And there goes Bugatti across the line. He takes the race win. He doesn't take the fastest lap, though, which I'm kind of surprised about. But there we go. Bugatti is your race winner tonight, then, here in Singapore, followed by Datamo after a surprise late safety car saved him, really. And Mike K on the podium as well. A brilliant drive, really, from Mike K, really avoiding the action, finishing 3rd place. Kazissel in 4th place. Saija in 5th, and Ginger finishing in 6th place. And perhaps a missed opportunity there from FRL Ginger. We already saw how quickly it took Bugatti to really close in. Ginger was the lead soft runner, so a real missed opportunity there for the Alfa Romeo, and a missed opportunity particularly for the Red Bull team. It is McCrew in 7th place, Vape Enough finishing in 8th, Sasuke in 9th place, and MNT Ghost rounding out the top 10. And you know what? He's got a point, even with the broken front wing. So fair play to MNT Ghost there, who got the pole position, which is also a good fair play to him. But yeah, an unfortunate incident on the exit of the corner. Don't know what happened, but we'll have to wait and see. But it looks like the race winner would be Bugatti tonight, followed by Datamo, and then, of course, followed by the Racing Point of VER, Mike K. So a very, very interesting end to the race. And Domzo Power, finally a comment in the comment section. We've been waiting for something to talk about in this race, and we got something, and that is about Saija from last place to P5. A brilliant drive from the Mercedes. And again, he was a driver who we didn't talk about at all pretty much the whole race until after that, and he delivered. So at the end of this race now, for the unofficial result, but the result just for now, Bugatti wins this race, followed by Datamo finishing in 2nd place. A good result for them too, starting 13th and 11th on the grid. Mike K in 3rd place, Kazissel finishing 4th after that unfortunate late incident, which may have cost him that 2nd and 3rd place potentially, but he lost a lot of time anyway. It is CRL Saija in 5th place, and Ginger in 6th. McCrew finishing in 7th place after starting 17th. A good race from him as well, it has to be said. Vape Enough going from 6th to 8th place, kind of dropping down a little bit, which is a bit unfortunate for him. Sasuke in 9th, and MNT Ghost rounds out the top 10. And if you wanted to know everyone outside the top 10, there are your finishers outside the top 10. As we have this finished, I'm not gonna do podium interviews tonight, since I think it'd be a bit controversial, first of all, to do so, and secondly, obviously, I don't have Noah to do them with me, which I think would be better if we both did them together. But with that, what a very entertaining race towards the end. They're very, very interesting, and I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting a very interesting ending indeed, but well, it is what it is, and we'll have to wait and see really what happens with the stewarding, because of course there will be a few talking points, including Bugatti's race win in the end. But yeah, with that said, we will look forward to next week, which we will be going, of course, to Austria. So finally a track, really, that drivers don't have a controversial thought about. Of course, Bahrain short, a lot of people are like, why are we doing short tracks? Short tracks don't deserve to be in league racing. And obviously Singapore, a track that everyone's like, oh, this track just doesn't produce anything, does it? So we are going to a track finally next week that really will be quite a potential thriller next week, and really will hopefully provide us with a lot more action than this week. It's a very open circuit. We are at the Styrian Hills for the Austrian Grand Prix, and we'll be back next Monday for that. If you want to tune in to the next event that PSGL has, they have their FCC calendar. I'm not sure what the tracks are for that. I'll find that in a second. There we go. I found it already right now. I believe it is round 3, or yeah, it's round 3 for them, and it is at Brazil in the McLaren 1991 car. So we will see you then for that if you want to tune into that, of course. And then, of course, everything else starts officially from Thursday, which is F12 and F11 respectively, which will be in Austria, where you can join the commentary duos of Bryn Evans in F11, or you can join obviously an hour before and join CRG Kryptonite for that one. But with that, I'll see you next week then for the Austrian Grand Prix, and hopefully we'll see it with Noah as well. Good night.